What connects the stage dance, Pilates, and working with the body at the highest level? Today, we are speaking with someone who brings all these words together in a truly unique way. Our guest today is Sarita Allen, dancer, teacher, choreographer, and movement educator, connecting with the Alvin, Ailey, yes, American Dance Theater, and the
Yes.
legacy of Katie, Kathy,
Kathy.
Kathy, sorry, Grant.
Yeah.
This September, Sarita will be lead workshop with us, with Senia, giving our participation the opportunity to experience her approach to the body, movement, and the Pilates method. So, hello, Sarita.
Hello. Hello.
I have a couple questions for you. So, the first is your journey begins with the dance. What first draw you to the working, to the movement?
Well, that's very interesting. I was born with deformed legs, and the doctor advised my mom to put me in dance class when I got old enough. He said that he thought that ballet would help my legs. They would form my legs properly and strengthen my legs in order for me to be able to walk and run and play like a child. So that's how I came to it, because I was born with my legs not proper.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
Do you already feel that that working with the body could go beyond the dance itself already
Uh,
back that
Well,
time?
I think that really is about, not to sound too corny, if you will, there's an expression that we have in America. It says to dance is to live, and to live is to dance. So in most cultures, they have national dancing, and in all different countries, back in the history, they danced, right? Folk
Mhm.
dancing, tap dancing in Africa, Scotland, Ireland, in Greece, they all did some form of dancing for community and expression. So I think dance is just a natural form of moving the body. People is back in the day, people danced more, I think, than they did now. It was a form of, community coming together. In some cultures, they use dancing and movement as spiritual practices. Say,
Mhm.
for example, when it began in yoga, it was more of a physical, more of like a religious experience, doing the various asanas, or to go deeper into your mind, to get enlightened. So I think just moving the body and dancing is a natural thing that everyone has in their body, or they want to move, just or going out dancing when you're a teenager.
Mhm.
Just dancing to music is a fantastic feeling, and it elevates everyone.
Yes, exactly. But one of the most important moments in your journey was meeting Katie Grant.
Yes.
And how do you remember your first experience of working with her? And how was she in that time? Her personality.
Well, it was very interesting. When I first met her, I thought she was a bit strange, because I was in New York on scholarship because I wanted to become a ballerina. So I received a scholarship at the Dance Theater of Harlem, which was the first company, or one of the first companies, for Black ballerinas. And she was the director of the school, but she also taught a class that she called special exercise. So
Mhm.
that's when I first met her. We were in the studio on the floor doing these crazy exercises. You have to remember, this was in the early 70s. Most people didn't know about Pilates at all.
But it was
But she,
Pilates. Yes.
yeah, but she called it special exercise because nobody
Mhm.
knew what Pilates. But what she was having us doing, we were saying nursery rhymes. Like we were singing songs that we do know as a children. Say, for example, Mary, Mary had little
Mhm,
lamb, ba, ba,
mhm.
ba. And we were doing the 100. So that's when she started her use of the voice to teach the 100 because it gave you the rhythm, but also it relaxed your neck. So can you imagine I was 16 years old and I'm singing children's rhymes, children's stories. And then we were all like, what is this woman nuts? We thought it was the strangest thing ever. So you know what I mean? So that was my
Yeah.
first impression. Who is this woman and why are we on the floor? First of all, you know what I mean? Um, yeah. And then as the director of the school, she was very strict and she was no nonsense, which where she had to be. It was the first school, she was the first director. It was the first time the school had had an intensive, students coming from all over the country. And she hadn't done that before, and we hadn't been in New York. So we're all young people coming from other places, and she had to make sure we were all right. So she took it very seriously. So my first impression of her as the director, that she was not mean, but just very serious in terms of her
Mhm,
responsibility to us, making sure that we were all right, making sure everything was orderly and it wasn't chaotic.
mhm. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So, what was the most unique element of her way of teaching? Did she have something like that? That she was like,
Well, I think just there was a lot of various physical differences in her way of teaching, but one of the main ones was mental mental approach. I think most teachers or really good teachers want their students to get better. And in
Mhm,
her case, she was doing a lot of people who were injured came to her to get help, and especially dancers. There were painters, there were pianists. Everyone had different ailments, or most of us, that had to get, so we had to get back to work. But she really wanted people to be able to return to something they love
mhm,
in a profound fashion. So she would do everything she could to make sure people could continue their work, whether it be a painter, a dancer, a singer, but also for people who weren't in the arts to have a beautiful life, to be able to play with their children. Like she had a few grandparents who their dream, they just wanted to be able to play with their grandchildren on the floor, just to have quality of life. But she really made it a mission for people to get well, not just to have a nice exercise session.
yeah,
You know what
okay.
I mean? She took her job very, very seriously.
Seriously. Mhm,
Yeah. And she taught everyone equally, not only famous dancers, but someone who wasn't famous at all.
mhm,
She demanded excellence from them as she demanded from a principal dancer,
mhm,
somebody who was just, had a normal life, but she demanded they come up to a higher level. So she didn't treat them any less. And she really made them rise as if they were principal dancers.
That's amazing. But
Yeah.
Katie Grant thought Pilates in a very individual way, right? What
Yes.
does she teach you about observation the body that you have in front of you?
Well, she's very interesting. She taught us to observe people's normal behaviors, meaning she would say, how did they tie a shoe? How did they put their pants on? How did they just walk in the studio? She believed that everyday movements could tell more about a new client than asking them a lot of questions about their background.
Hmm.
Just simple things. How do they sit down on the reformer? So without any doing any exercise, she would teach us just to look at how they were, just walking, just simple. How did they stand? Are they standing more on one hip? Are they slumped? Are they able to stand up in general? So just she would teach us to learn about the person doing everyday movements before we started to assess them in the movement, saying how strong are their abdominals? Are they flexible? Do they have a tight neck? Is their back tight? So all
Mm.
that came before the physical proper assessment.
So you can easily say that her method was not only about exercise, but about understanding the person's stunt in front of the teacher, right?
That's
Because this
exactly
is
it.
equal, right?
That's exactly right. She taught us also to look at the whole person, because when people come in the studios, they come in for different reasons. Any studio, right? Even if they don't have an injury, they come in, they want to get a better body. But ultimately, people come into studios to feel better,
Mm.
right? They want to feel better emotionally, they want to have more energy, or if they're too stressed out, they come in, they want to calm down. So whatever it is, she taught us also to really look at them and see where their energy was that day and what they needed, because how their energy was would determine how they would move. And as you were saying, they go hand in hand. So if somebody comes in and really nervous and stressed out, they're not going to be able to find their core. They're not going to be able to focus. So
And
the first
quality.
thing she would do
Mm.
is just to calm everybody down. And that's one of the reasons where she started the before the 100. People come in the studio from their life, outside life, wherever it is. You can't come in a room and just start exercising right away. So she would say, at least take 10 minutes, clear your mind, right? Because
Mm.
Pilates, we know, is about the mind. Don't think about the outside world, and just take a moment to breathe, come into your center, and then you'll
Mhm.
be able to do it correctly. You can't just come in off the street and lay down and just, you know, she would say, look at any Olympian, right? Before they do anything, a diver, gymnast, they always come and they stand first, really quietly, even for it's a minute, and then they go, right? You never
Mm.
see an Olympian, okay, I'm going to the diving board and dive straight up.
Yeah.
Or you never see a gymnast come right up and then jump right on the balance. They always stand
And focus.
and they focus. Yeah,
Mm. Exactly. So you spent many years connected with the stage and Alvin LA American Dance Theater. How has your experience as a dancer influencer the way you teach Pilates? How this influence in you what you do today?
right. Well, dancing at that level, you have to know your body intimately. You have to know how to push it, when to push it. You have to know when to be a little gentle with it. You have to really know in order to dance. You have to be able to conquer your nerves, because there's always nerves before you go on stage. You need those nerves. If you're not a
Hmm.
little bit nervous, you're going to be flat. And this is what any profession, even before you go to speak, there's a little nervous energy you have.
Hmm.
It's not bad, but you have to learn how to focus that. You have to learn, again, control of your body. We have to learn musicality.
Hmm.
But also, I was thinking about this. We do, as a leader, like, say, for example, if you're the lead of a ballet and the rest of the dancers are a little off that day, as the leader, you have to know how to calm them down or get everybody back together. Or if the energy is low, you have to kind of send the vibes you learn. So I was thinking about that, and I said, even though the dancing helped me know how to lead a room, how to feel a room, like doing a group class. You know how to
Hmm.
bring people's energy level up or down, or just the group dynamics in dancing. You can bring it to the Pilates studio. And dancing also is about communicating to an audience, right? So in our line of work, we didn't sing, we didn't act, but we tell the story through our dancing. So I think it works perfectly doing a modality that works with the body, communicating basically. So when you're dancing, you're communicating with an
Mm,
outside person. You have to either bring them up, or you have the ability to calm them down or make them feel better. So we're used to communicating with people,
yeah,
through
exactly.
movements. So it's kind of
So,
a natural thing. And I was also thinking, when you do a duet with the person, like we're dancing, you have to be able to feel that partner's, where his weight is, where he is. So you have
mhm,
to just be sensitive to how you touch them and how they touch you. So basically, it just trains you to be sensitive to the human body naturally, because you're doing that all the time.
yeah, exactly. But I bet you have the moment in your stage career, in your work, that set in your mind for the like, what was that moment that was like specially clear that you remember? Maybe it was something like um that gives you the joy, or maybe that was something that you proud of, or maybe that in the opposite way, maybe that was something that you feel like a failure and you learn more about this. Do you have that kind of specific moment in your career as a dancer that you
Well,
remember
I've
the
had a
most?
few, and they don't come very often, where you feel like you've reached another level and the audience feels the same. A lot of times the audience thinks you're amazing and you think you were horrible, or sometimes you felt you were fabulous and the audience thought you were okay. So very few times where it comes together. We call that the magical moments, where the audience could feel where you were and you could feel the audience, and you go to another level, like a higher level. And one of those moments I'll never forget, I was dancing in Athens at the Acropolis. So you're right there on the top. I don't remember the year, but how old is that? Ancient Greek history, right? And it was a full moon. And one of the dances we start with the arms, with the head looking up, and it was a full moon. So you're in Athens at the top of the Acropolis, feeling all this history. And I don't know how many seats, but the theater's in an amphitheater style, round, and they go really high up, and it's surrounding you. So that was one of the moments that I'll
Like
never forget.
magical, right?
It was magical because
Mm,
I was doing one of Alvin's most famous ballets, called Revelations, which is about spiritual upliftment. So when we're looking up, we're looking up to heaven,
mm,
whatever you believe, if you believe in a spiritual power, or just to some being. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Christian God. It could be whatever you believe in,
mhm.
but that's the beginning. And so being there at that moment with the full moon,
It was spiritual. Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah,
Magical moment.
it was magical.
Okay. So your professional path has led you through the dance, the stage, teaching, and body work. So that is pretty a lot. Which
Yes.
stage was the most transformation to you as a person, as your body, as your inside, spiritual, like everything? Which moment was the most, maybe not important, but most transforming for you?
Well, it's
Do you have
interesting.
that kind of moment?
For me, I kind of, my teaching and my dancing went hand in hand, because when I was with Alvin Ailey, I was also the company teacher. So I've been teaching, and at the same time as I've been dancing. So I've always taught and danced. taught and danced simultaneously. And when I was learning with Kathy, part of our training was always helping somebody else in the studio. That was part of her technique. We all helped each other or we looked at each other. And part of our training, she would have you look at the person next to you and say, are they straight? Are they aligned? Fix them, you know. So it's hard to say because I've been doing them both simultaneously,
Mhm.
but I also think it's been more of a gradual journey, like learning more and more than one particular thing
Mm.
that has changed me. You know, in the beginning, it was all about the technique, the technique and executing the exercises perfectly. And well, say, for example, Kathy would always say, don't dance, stop dancing in here. I don't want you to dance. I want you to do it clean. Don't
Mm.
dance. Don't be a dancer in the studio. My vision now, I don't really mind that. I like when people, once they have a clean technique, once they know it, I don't mind if they have a little movement with it.
Mhm.
I mean, not doing too crazy, but I don't, my style is a little bit different. I think you can have a little movement if you're well, if you're not trying to get out of injury. But to really answer your question, it's really been the journey, how my approach to it has changed, just working with people, getting to know what works, what doesn't. Like Kathy's approach changed. Like how she taught in the very beginning when I was with her in the 70s up until when she passed in the 200,
Mhm.
right, 2010. So I watched her evolution, just like my evolution as a teacher changed over the years. As you do, you learn more, you learn what works and what doesn't.
Mm. Exactly. So during the workshop that we will have in September with you in Poznań, the concept of this workshop is powerhouse will appear. How do you understand this concept? How do you want
Well,
to show the concept of powerhouse?
yeah. Well, the powerhouse, as you know, is the most common, one of the most common
Mm-hmm.
terms. Everybody, the
Yeah.
powerhouse. Most people just think of it as the abdominals. That's it, they think. Now, people with a little bit more knowledge, and I know it's technically all the sets of the abdominals, the six parts, the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, they all make up the powerhouse. But my philosophy is the powerhouse isn't necessarily a place or something to grip. It's overall the holistic sense. To me, the body, I think about it like it says, it's a house where your power lives in your
Mm-hmm.
whole house, and how all those things work together, how the breath integrates into the abdominals and the back, all those things together to me is the powerhouse. It's not something, again, it's not a place where you grip.
Yeah.
It's everything has to work together. We all know
Mm-hmm.
you can't just squeeze your butt and not have your abdominals work. Just like if you pull the abdominals in and your hamstrings are loose or your tush, it's not going to work. It all has to be together.
So that means that our consciousness actually help our center and our body to move better and more
Yes.
safe, right?
Yes, I think it's good. One of the things I think that makes Pilates different is you can't just say, for example, in the gym, they say, okay, today is leg day, right? I'm going to work my legs today,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm going to work my arms today, or I'm going to work my lats today. That's the common terminology, right? When you go to the gym with machines. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but Pilates is the whole thing. Again, it's impossible. Like you can't just do your arms. You can, but in Pilates, we know when you're doing the weight series, you have to pull your abdominals in at the same time. And you have the Pilates stance. So it's everything working together. Even the baby toe when you talk about foot alignment.
Mm.
So everything, you're right, in terms of safety, every body part helps the other. So you're not loading too much on one, right? If
Yes.
you're doing squats or something, if you're not lifting your weight, you're going to hurt your knees or anything else. If you go into back extension without having your abdominal support or the glutes, you're going to hurt your back. So I think you're learning to each body part helps the other. That's where the balance comes in, right? You try to have balance. They all help each other. Because
Okay, so
otherwise, you're going to
Mhm.
hurt the joints if you just load one joint without helping anything else. You're going to get
Yes.
injured.
So this in this workshop in September, you will lead this workshop for the teacher, the people depending their Pilates practice, what can the participation expect from this experience with you?
Well, I would like them to come away with just looking at the body in a different way if they're a teacher, like learning how, like, say, for example, Kathy also taught us to learn, like, she had an eye. She could tell before someone moved if they were going to use the right muscle, they're going to grip. She could just see where, no, you're not ready. She could see if they were engaged or not, and then they would move. She would say,
So
don't
she's
go right
cutting.
away. Huh?
So she's cutting them before they do
Yeah,
something,
you
right?
could see it. Like, I don't
Mm.
know how to explain it rather. She could see, say, for example, someone's having a shoulder issue, or you have a client who's just lifting their arm like this all the time. And you try to say, okay, feel the lift from your abdominals and then let the shoulders soften. So you try to get them in the right muscles. So, say, for example, I'm here and she could tell that before I moved, I was going to start to do that. Even that. So you have to do, she would say, if you see the body part organizing itself, now you know I'm lifting it up as opposed to lifting it up like that. So
Mm.
it's actually before the movement, right? So I haven't moved right now. I've just gotten here, but that's wrong. It's what you do before. Same thing with the abdominals. We know if you do a curl forward or a head lift without pulling your abdominals in, the stomach is going to go up.
Up. Mm.
So you have to think first and then you go. You always think, talk to your body, and then you go. So I hope they would learn just to take that beat and really think. And we know Pilates is one of his concepts is the mind, body, and spirit. So before you start to do exercise, you think, okay, what am I going to do? Then you go because your mind has to direct the body. And it's just simple. I don't want to make it too complicated,
Mm-hmm.
but just have them involve their mind because the mind is a muscle, right? The
Yeah,
mind
just
really
like
guides.
the connect the dots, right?
Yeah, that
Before
is.
you
That
do
is.
something.
Your mind tells the body what to do. So it's really holistic experience. And just think of it, you know. And also she would say you really want to learn when you engage just the muscles you need, nothing extra, you move with ease, even doing advanced exercises, right? It's not like, so, oh, I'm gonna go. It's
Mm.
not like that. Once you get the right balance, right, and then it flows. Your leg will lift if your hip is relaxed, the abdominals, everything is working together. It flows. If not, it's going to be tight, right? And the other principle in Pilates is flow. right?
Yeah,
So it's really about, I would like them to be able to learn even more. It is effort, right? It's a strong technique. It's not easy, but within that, only use what you need, nothing more. Moving with efficiency.
exactly. So during the workshop, our participant will work with the different Pilates equipment, right?
Yes.
What role does this apparatus play in your way of teaching? Did they help you? Um, did they maybe not help you? Did they maybe prefer working without them? How is your approach to that?
That's a good question. I think the beauty of it, the beauty of his all the different apparatus is that most of the exercises or a lot of them can be done on the various apparatus.
Mhm.
Say for example the short box, if people have trouble with the edges and finding that curve on the box, they can go to the barrel, the ladder barrel, which has the curve, and so on and so forth. Or they can use one of the small barrels. So each different equipment gives you an opportunity to help the person find the one that they do it the best, right? So there's different ways of like some people respond better to one piece of equipment than the other for some reason or another. So it's great that you have all these options to
Mhm.
do the same exercise, right? The swan, we have it on the Cadillac, we have it on the barrel, we have it on the chair. So a lot of times if I'm someone's having trouble with the swan on the reformer, they have more success on the chair because the springs help lift them up.
Mhm.
So I think the apparatus are great because it gives you lots of options. Now, if you're working with somebody who really is very accomplished or doesn't have too many problems, or in anyone else, each piece of equipment tells you something, has a different conversation with your body, and it tells you something different. Sometimes
Mhm.
things show up on the Cadillac.
That doesn't show up
It
in,
doesn't
for
show.
example,
Yeah,
revolve.
because they're each different. So I think they're great because they'll tell you something different about your body. Like, oh, you know, again, you could either accomplish something better, you have more success doing the same exercise, which is great. You have options. So you don't have to, not being able to do something. But I really also believe ultimately that you can learn something different about your body from each apparatus. They
Mhm.
provide different things.
Yeah, definitely.
They really do.
Sarita, you have so many experience and so many years with working with a different body to working with Katie Grant. Do you have um some kind of good advice, let's say, about that for the people who already working with this method and for the people who will start with this method? Do you have some kind of good advice how
I
to
do.
start or how to lead your path?
I think, again, this is all something that I learned from Kathy. She would ask she would empower, I would say, start to empower your clients right away and not just have them come in and lay there and you tell them to lift their arm, lift their leg, and they're going about it without thinking and they just do like they're a seal. She would say, no, you have to make them work. They have to be a part of the process. They can't just wait until you tell them what to do. They have to try to really understand. And she was very, she wouldn't really allow people to do things incorrectly if it could hurt them. You know what I mean? She would say, you can't fix everything. So, my advice to someone is you look at a new client coming in. We all have a lot of things, even though we could all be very like elite athletes. Some people have a tighter hip, you have a shoulder. Nobody's perfect. But she would say, you can't do everything at once. right? And so you
Yeah.
pick one imbalance and maybe you work with them without necessarily saying so much. You can guide the person because they would be overwhelmed if you came in and someone said, your shoulders too high, your hips are
Mm-hmm.
this, your back is swayed. And then you're like, you're going to be
What's wrong?
discouraged. It's
Mm-hmm.
too much, you know. So she would teach us, and I've kept this. Sometimes, obviously, if they're injured, they know something is wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
if most people, they don't know, the normal person, they don't know if they're slightly off.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to make people feel bad, like, why are you crooked? They don't know they're crooked. So she would say sometimes you could just quietly fix them. Next thing you know, and that usually works if you're guiding them, and then you could see they start to feel better when they're aligned, like their face changes, they feel better. You don't have to tell them they're crooked. You just fix them, either verbally or
Mm-hmm.
manually. Say, just move over here, move your spine here a little bit, like you fix them just quietly and gently. But their face does change when they're all of a sudden they're aligned, they're feeling better. Because we know when you're centered, you just automatically have a sense of well being. We don't know why, it's just what it is. You
Exactly.
feel better. You feel better when you're centered and you're strong. You just do.
Perfect. So, Sarita, thank you very much for this conversation. I am glad that we have the chance to learn more about your journey, your experience, and the way you think. This September, there will be an opportunity to meet you in person during
Yes.
this workshop and experience this work and practice. And I cannot wait to
Thank
meet you
you.
again. And thank you again for this conversation. And I hope we will see each other.
I know. Well, I'm so excited for the invitation, and all of my communications with you and Isabella and Sinya so far has been perfection. And I appreciate your
Thank you.
integrity and your integrity to making sure everything is as it should. And you also, like Kathy, really stand for the clients and the students and want to give them the best intention, not to get people in and just give them exercise. Let them make them sweat. That's not what it's about. But
Mhm.
my intention, my overall intention for the students to leave being inspired, like if they have been practicing for many years, just to get reinvigorated, to look at Pilates differently, or if they're new, being inspired to study it more. So I would say I really want people to come away inspired, not
They
just
will
with
be.
having a good workout.
They will be. I'm more
They
than
will work
sure.
out, but
They will. They will. I'm more than sure. Not
they
100%,
got to work
100,
hard.
150%. So, yeah, definitely.